For the second time this season, teammates were caught up in controversy that angered race fans from Argentina. At Laguna Seca, Canapino was having his best race of the year until contact was made with Callum Ilott late in the race, which damaged Canapino's front wing. Ilott got a top 5 finish while Canapino faded to 14th. After the race, Ilott posted video of the incident after he started to receive unpleasant messages on social media. The fans blamed Ilott for ruining Canapino's career day, but when you look at the replay shared by Ilott, Canapino got up on the curb entering turn 1 and wheel hopped in Ilott to break the front wing. Others may argue that Ilott didn't have to race his teammates so aggressively in the braking zone, but regardless of what side of the fence you're on, sending hateful comments like this is unacceptable. Juncos Hollinger Racing released this statement in both English and Spanish to calm down the angry fans, but some have criticized these words because they don't think it goes far enough to address the real problem. Matt, Callum Ilott's Twitter account is currently locked, something people do to cut down on unpleasant social media messages. Does Juncos Hollinger Racing and Agustin Canapino, do they need to do more to denounce this type of behavior against their teammate Callum Ilott?
Well, it's not the first time, is it? We talked about just before we hit the button to go on that this happened after the Long Beach when the two of them were running off strategy and at the front of the field during the Long Beach Grand Prix. And the Canapino fans were enraged that Ilott had blocked him out of the pit exit from memory. And there was all kind of things then, and again it's happened again and again by the kind of looks of the video. And I haven't, again, we'll get to it in Hearts and Knots, but I haven't seen the IndyCar race yet. But I have seen this incident, and by the video, Callum's done nothing wrong. He's been rear-ended by his teammate. It has to stop. It just has to stop. You know, we can't have people turning their platforms off on away. Callum probably thrown his phone into the sea, frankly, after the weekend. And I'm not interested in dealing with any of this. I'm going to have a couple of weeks off now, have a break, end of the season, go on holiday, do whatever. Maybe you'll come back to the UK for a couple of weeks potentially, and then get himself refocused for next season. But it just stinks, doesn't it? It's not the first or last time this will happen, but it's just not right, and it just needs to stop. People have passion. We love that, but there is a line, and again, it's been crossed by one-sidedly passionate fans of a certain driver.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate to see this happen again between Callum Ilott and Agustin Canapino and the angry race fans of Canapino. Like you said, man, it happened at Long Beach. Canapino was off strategy leading in front of the field in Juncos Hollinger Racing, made the mistake to send Ilott out of the pits right ahead of Canapino. And then, Canapino got in trouble there and ended up falling behind in the field. But the thing is, I remember talking about that incident on this show several months ago. And what I said at the time was that Canapino didn't even have the pace to keep up with the leaders anyway. So he was going to fall back one way or another. So I don't really think you can entirely blame that one incident on Callum Ilott. And like you were saying, Matt, looking at the replay of this incident as well, I don't know if I blame anything on Callum Ilott either in this situation, because it was late in the race. Both of these drivers are jockeying for position. It's not like it's the first 10 laps of the race, when there's a lot of give and take. There was a lot of take towards the end of the race. Both drivers trying to get their best finishes of the season. Ilott ended up accomplishing that, but unfortunately for Canapino, 14th place is not representative of the great day he had. He deserved to be in the top 5 as well, definitely in the top 10. But regardless of what do you think of this incident, like Ben was saying, sending Ilott those hateful messages is absolutely unacceptable. And we were just talking about the fact that we could see an IndyCar exhibition race postseason next year in Argentina. How do you think Callum Ilott feels about the possibility of going to Argentina, especially with all of those race fans from Argentina sending him those really mean messages in support of Agustin Canapino? If I was Ilott, I'd either hire me a security guard when we go to Argentina or ask if someone can sub for me that weekend, because I'd be a little nervous going to that racetrack. But yeah, getting back to the statement that Juncos Hollinger Racing put out, I'm glad they decided to put it out, but I do see why a lot of people were criticizing this statement. I do feel like it could have been more direct and show a lot more support for Callum Ilott by name and all of that, because nobody wants to, open up your phone and see all of these things being said to you. Callum Ilott should not have to lock his Twitter and put it on private. He should be able to go on social media whenever he wants and have an enjoyable experience there. And like Ben was saying about the passion of the fans, it's really good to have that passion but there's a point when you can totally cross the line, and I feel like for the second time this season, that line was definitely crossed.
I want to make one thing very clear. Obviously, this isn't casting a shadow on the entire country of Argentina or all its fans or anything. We know that that social media in general is a very loud minority. I think people, often forget the majority of people in the world are not on Twitter, not sending these kinds of messages. And you only need to look back, what is it, 9 months now to when Argentina won the World Cup. Did you see the streets of Argentina after that happened? And millions upon millions of fans celebrating that victory. That was, the Argentine sports fans are so passionate and so emotional about their sports teams and their driver now, Agustin Canapino. And I think that it's fantastic. Like I was saying backstage before we came on the air, that, we're talking about maybe having an exhibition race in that country now. And we've found a way to market this great sport of IndyCar racing to those fans and bring in a new audience. I think all that's great. But there are certain lines that you cannot cross. And the fans that, again, not all of them, but a loud, large minority of users that have gotten on Twitter and gotten into Callum Ilott's messages, the replies or whatever, and sent these hateful messages and sent these threats in some cases to the point where Juncos Hollinger Racing and IndyCar themselves have to put out statements reminding fans like, hey, we love that you're passionate. We love that you care about this sport, but you can't do this sort of thing. There are certain lines that you cannot cross. It's absolutely unacceptable, and I hope that this message speaks to those fans and that they recognize it. And again, Kobe, I can understand where those people are coming from as well. We're saying, look, if you've had to issue this message a second time now, this is clearly a serious issue. Maybe you should be a little bit more firm. Maybe you should take things an additional step at this point, given that this is not the first incident that has happened this year. So again, we love the passion. We love that a new audience has been introduced to this great sport, but there are certain things you just should not do on social media, and this is certainly one of them.